Well, today is July 20th, 2022, which means we have to wish a very certain album a 40th birthday. That's right. On July 20th, 1982, this album was released. The Go-Go's sophomore album, Vacation. So, wow, 1982 was 40 years ago. That's number one. Let's just get that out of the way. So, Vacation was the second album the Go-Go's released. It was two of three that they released in their sort of prime, if you want to call it that. The single Vacation, which this album is named after, came out on June 26th, 1982, a little before the album, with the B-side, of course, Beatnik Beach. So this album came out, I don't have the 45 for Vacation, but it's the same exact art as this, just on a 45. So you see the back, it's got, of course, the girls water skiing, which, of course, the music video for Vacation features them water skiing. So this album, when Beauty and the Beat turned 40 last year on July 8th, there was a lot to talk about. You know, the Go-Go's are one of the very, very few artists who have had a debut album go to #1. They did it. And they are the first female artist that had a #1 album at all. So this album, of course, followed, it was piggybacking off of that. You know, Beauty and the Beat was just exploding. So, of course, the record company said, well, let's make another album. So, that birthed this. But it didn't live up to the expectations, unfortunately. As the Go-Go's themselves said, this album was very rushed. They were scrambling for material. And the songwriting kind of reflects that. And if you listen to the music, it's good music, but it's not as detailed, if that's the right word, as the music on Beauty and the Beat was. You can definitely tell that they were really just trying to pump stuff out. So I'm going to quote, I believe it was Charlotte said, it was one of them said this, and I actually do believe this. Had the song Vacation not been on this album, and this album was just called, I don't know, the Go-Go's 2 or the Sophomore Go, something that, had this song right here, the Vacation song, had that not been on this album, that would have ended everything. The Go-Go's were riding this wave of high after Beauty and the Beat, and Vacation, the song, single-handedly kept that going for a little bit. And they have Kathy Valentine to thank for that. Kathy Valentine, of course, being the bassist. She wrote the song Vacation. She actually had been playing it with her previous band, the Textones, a different version of it, and she came to Charlotte, lead guitarist, said, hey, got this song, maybe we can use it, and it became the hit single for this album. And it saved this album, you know. People, when they think of the Go-Go's second album, now, excluding the fact that it's called Vacation, if you think of the Go-Go's second album, I don't know about anyone else, but when I think of the Go-Go's second album, I think of Vacation. It's just it. The song in my head represents that second album. And, you know, if you look at the track listing, there's really only 3 songs on here, being Vacation, Beatnik Beach, which was the B-side of the Vacation single, and Cool Jerk, which they didn't even write. That was a cover of the Capitals. Other than those 3 songs, this album didn't really have a lot of hits. And how many of those songs get radio airplay? 1. Vacation. You don't hear Get Up and Go on the radio. That's a pretty good one too. But like, you know, here's the track listing. This is not in the order it was written, but, you know, Vacation, This Old Feeling, He's So Strange, Girl of 100 Lists, It's Everything But Party Time, Get Up and Go, Beatnik Beach, I Think It's Me, The Way You Dance, We Don't Get Along, Worlds Away, and Cool Jerk. It's a pretty good set list, in my opinion. I think that this album had a lot of songs that were underrated. I think the song Girl of 100 Lists, criminally underrated. I think the song The Way You Dance might be my favorite song on this album. And We Don't Get Along. That's another good one. Also, we gotta talk about It's Everything But Party Time. That might be my favorite on the album, actually. That or The Way You Dance. I really just like It's Everything But Party Time. It's a slow kind of, you know, just, you can waltz to it. It's just a slow groove song, and it's awesome. Then there's songs, you know, the only song on here that I can look at and say, I don't think that I really, how do I word this? There's only really one song on this album that if I heard it, I might skip it, and that's Worlds Away. It's the last song on the album, and it's just not, it just doesn't jive with me like all these other songs do. When I hear the intro to Worlds Away, it's just like, yeah, that doesn't sound like the Go-Go's. There was another song on one of their later albums that did that for me too, but, you know, I'll show you here my copy. Here's the inside sleeve, wonderfully 80s design with all the lyrics to every song except Cool Jerk, since they didn't write that. And then on the back we have the girls water skiing here, all the info. Interestingly, it says, for Go-Go's fan club information, send to Go-Go's Fan Club International, 8033 Sunset Boulevard, Box 6060, Hollywood, California. I wonder what's there now. But the funny part is that in the documentary, they talk about this set here. So if you watch the vacation video, spoiler, the water skiing scenes are not actually them, right? And then the scenes of them standing there looking like they're water skiing, like the solo scenes, that's a green screen. But the funny part is just how wasted they were when they were filming this. I mean, as they described it, they had a hard time standing up at times because they had been drinking so much before this. And it's funny to watch the video of them, like, obviously it was supposed to look like they were water skiing, but they're like, it's funny to watch, actually. Here's my copy of the vinyl. Let's see what we got here. So the actual track listing for this album in order is Vacation, He's So Strange, Girl of 100 Lists, We Don't Get Along, I Think It's Me, It's Everything But Party Time, Get Up and Go, This Old Feeling, Cool Jerk, The Way You Dance, Beatnik Beach, and Worlds Away. And we have a little image of the girls animated kind of water skiing on there, by IRS Records, of course. So the interesting thing about this album is, so let's put it this way. So if you look at this album, you got to realize that in this band, Charlotte and Jane were the main two songwriters, and they made the most money. Charlotte wrote the music, and Jane wrote the words. Well, Charlotte had this little thing called a heroin addiction, and that's not good, but she hid it from everyone for a long time. Even when Beauty and the Beat came out, she was doing heroin, but by the time this album came out, full-blown addict, injecting and everything, and it just came worse and worse as the years went on. But, and I'm going to quote another member here, you listen to Beauty and the Beat and Charlotte's parts and the musical things she's done, it's so obvious and just out there and eccentric and wow, this is really, you get with it. With this album, you can really kind of tell the absence of Charlotte's parts. Yeah, they're there, but they're just not as cheerful or filled or, I guess, full sounding as the ones on Beauty and the Beat, where you can really feel the absence of her mentally on this album. Now, it's still a great album, don't get me wrong, but it also stalled on the charts. You know, it stopped at number 6, and that was it. And, you know, this album, in my opinion, was kind of the start of their downfall, their initial breakup in 1985. Well, technically 84, if you want to get technical, when Jane left, if that started the breakup. But, you know, this album, and it pissed him off. You know, why can't we make 2 number ones? You know, this should be easy. But it's like, you know, the record company rushed them. They're like, we need music from you right now, now. And so you get rushed material. And that's what this album is. It's very thrown together excuse, I guess, for a second album. But I don't mean it in that way, because it's still an excellent album. It's got excellent songs. But it just doesn't have the feel that Beauty and the Beat had. Still a great album. And I still am going to listen to it many, many, many more times in the future because it's amazing from front to back, with the exception of Worlds Away, even though I tolerate that song if I'm listening to the whole album and I got to finish with that song. But the album itself, it's 40 today. That's crazy to think about. The first 2 Go-Go's albums are now over 40 years old, and in 2 years, the third one will be too. And then in, well, let's see, 2041, the last one will be too. Because you got to realize, between Talk Show and God Bless the Go-Go's, there was a 17-year gap. Now, granted, they had a greatest hits, but that doesn't count. And they had Return to the Valley, which was not, you know, that was more of a compilation album. Mainly of the B-sides, the sort of outtakes, and the beginning punk sort of tape recording stuff. But studio album-wise, there was a 17-year gap between 1984 and 2001, but when Talk Show, God Bless the Go-Go's came out, which is a great album, but it's, you know, it's totally different than how they were back then. It's a lot edgier, a lot more, you know, modernist, I guess you could say. But we're not talking about that. That's not for another few years, thankfully. We're talking about this one, and it's 40 today. Wow. That's crazy. But yeah, I guess that's it. We gotta say happy 40th birthday to the Go-Go's second album, Vacation. What a masterpiece, what a treasure, and it will continue to be for years to come.